One of the other features I wanted to bug you guys about here, because everybody, is always asking, how do I set up my shot tracker? What's the best way to set up the shot tracker? Can we talk a little bit about bore sighting and really what that means? Maybe some people in the shotgun space call it something else. They might be thinking about their point of impact, but really just kind of the process now with the upgraded app. I think that makes it easier too. So, maybe Jim, can you talk to us a little bit about bore sighting and really what you did there?
Okay. Bore sighting is really just trying to align the shot tracker to the barrel of your gun so that it knows where you are pointed.
Right.
That's why we always wind up in the bore sighting sequence. You're always holding the gun stable, holding it at a target, edge of a target or something of that sort. And the whole idea is to make sure that the camera, where you put that reticle in the camera on that image, is exactly where you are aiming. So it's really going to what I call the point of aim, not point of impact.
Not impact, right. Okay. So if just to break that down for some of us who are challenged here. So maybe I have the shotgun on, maybe I'm resting it on something, but I'm holding it as still as I can. And I'm going to maybe put the bead to the edge of that target or to some kind of focal point out there that I can hold steady on. Is that the best way to do it?
Yeah. Yes. Basically, as an example, what I'll do is I will, at some of the ranges where we're at, there'll be a post or a pole, something of that sort. And it's sort of like, imagine you were going to shoot a rifle. And you wanted to steady it by a pole. So,
because it bouncing around is a problem, right? You don't want a lot of movement, right?
That is a problem, and it's a problem twofold. Number one is where are you actually pointed when the camera takes its picture?
Got it. Okay.
Moving around, it's not going to be where you think it is. Number one. Number two, on the last 2 seconds of that countdown, because if you remember, it goes through with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beep. The idea is during the 5, 4, 3 portion of that thing, you could basically have the gun in your hand. Don't have to have it set up yet. You can reach over, tap the begin bore sight button, and then by the time you get to 2, you need to have it pointed stably, such that it's not moving. And the key thing here is it's calibrating the gyroscopes in here. So we're trying to have to make sure that we understand that the barrel is not moving, and so when it's in this position, there's generally with these little solid state gyroscopes, there's generally a couple degrees offset. So I'm zeroing that out during that last 2 seconds.
And I think the good news is if you think you got it wrong, you can always just do it again. So that's you could do it as many times as you want. Now I cheated a little bit. I have a monopod for my rifle, so I use that, rest the gun on it. And that obviously made it super easy. But yeah, if you had any kind of pole or anything where you felt you could get the gun just to be steady for a minute, listen, a lot of us go to the patterning board and we see that same situation where we're trying to hold the gun steady because we want to check the pattern. So it always makes it easier if you have something helping you there. And again, if you feel like you didn't get it right, just do it again, right? I mean that's the trick, right? Because this is an important part of the process so that you're getting that really accurate information. Especially for me as a trap shooter when I'm shooting handicap from the 27-yard line, I don't want to be off a quarter of an inch. I want it really, really dialed in so I can get that accurate feedback from the device. So in the new application, though, we're calling it auto bore sighting. And how did we kind of upgrade that process with this new release?
Okay, what we're doing, if you note when you hit begin bore sight, or set bore sight, there's 2 options. You have the auto bore sight button you can press, and you've got the old manual bore sight.
The manual one, okay.
The old manual bore sight is exactly the same as it was before. What we tried to do on this one is there is a downloadable image on the
Right.
website that you can download. Basically, a sheet of white paper, and it looks like a totally orange clay, 4.25 inches. That is perfect. That's on this piece of paper. The idea is take that and paste that up somewhere, 15, 25 yards out
Okay.
in the field.
Okay.
And basically what happens is when you're going through the same procedure, you press the begin auto bore sight, it's going
Right.
to do a countdown. Now what you're doing is you are pointing and holding stable on that clay. So
Okay.
instead of on the old manual bore sight case, you had to basically move the reticle around and tell the computer
Right.
where to point it. What this thing's going to do now is it's going to try to find that clay, and it's going to put the reticle dead nuts on that clay, number one.
Okay. Okay.
It will do a measurement from the bore sight to the clay.
To the clay. Right. Okay.
Right.
So it knows how far it was also from that clay, which helps it also calibrate, right, as far as setting up itself.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. And that's very loose
Okay.
for this. That's
Okay.
a whole different process I've got to go through when you've got a static clay out there. The
Sure.
other thing
Yeah.
that we've done is, if you remember on the old manual bore sight, you had to enter in 3 numbers. One was the distance to the target, which
Right.
is a plus and minus a couple yards, no big deal. The other thing was the distance from the muzzle to the lens,
Right.
and then the other
Right.
thing was the length of the gun. Well, it
Right.
turns out after we've been going through this thing, if you're a clay shooter, those numbers are almost always the same. If it's going to be 47
Pretty close. Yeah.
inches long.
Right.
is that gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
it's going to be 8 to 15 inches on the other number. So what we're doing
Right.
is we put in numbers in the middle, and so you
Okay.
don't enter those anymore. And it turns out when I did that, when I initially set up the algorithms years ago,
Yeah.
being an engineer, I was being a little overly anal in terms
No.
of numbers I was
Overly precise, an engineer. I don't believe it.
Anyway, so at this point, as I go through the thing, I mean, we're going to argue over a half an inch, kind of
Sure.
thing in terms of the net
Sure.
result, and it's not worth the aggravation that you're going to put a
Right.
shooter through in terms of the bore sight. Now,
Right.
a couple things. I'm being very, very picky when it picks out that clay. So
Okay.
if it comes back and says it failed, it
Right.
says it didn't like something.
Okay.
Gentleman the other day he was setting it on his trap house,
Okay.
and it turns out he had busted clays also in
Oh.
the end. So
Okay.
tell me, which orange speck is it that you're
Should I?
looking at?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, then he sent me a photo. Actually, it was yesterday. To
Okay.
where he had a nice orange clay setting
Right.
on it was like a flagpole with a concrete base below it. With
Yeah.
glass around, nothing orange. And he goes, "This works perfectly."
Right.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. I
that
can
was-
imagine if it has a bunch of broken clays in the background, the computer's going to say, "Which one would you like me to calibrate to?" So that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, I'm demanding that it be a circle. So when you
Okay.
look at the picture,
Okay.
if let's say as an example, you stuck a real clay out there and it's in the wind and it's cocked over at 45 degrees,
Right.
or
Right.
something like that, and you're looking at it sort of semi-edge on.
Yeah. So that's not the way to do it. Though it's a headshot. It's a face shot of a clay, full circle.
With
Allow got it. Okay. And obviously don't put it in the shade. Let the camera see a nice, orange, lit up clay. Yeah.
Yeah, all your basic photography 101 rules apply here.
Right. Okay.
In terms
Gotcha.
of getting a good, crisp image. If you get that,
Okay.
it will work. If it says it's failed, then immediately switch back to the old manual bore sight.
Right.
And number one, you'll get a photo of it there. Look
Yeah.
at that photo and see, because I'm also demanding that this thing be in the central region of the image.
Of the
As an
frame.
example.
Right. That makes sense.
If your bore
Yeah.
sighting and the bore sight is 90% to the right, well, you've got
Right.
a screwed up mount in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think what I'm hearing here is use a little bit of common sense. Let the camera do its job. Let the processor process the image that it needs to process. Obviously, yes, you can always revert back to manual and move that radical, just so it gets right to where it needs to be. So that's fine. But the auto bore sighting, if you're, some people might be moving the shot tracker to different guns. It's going to save you a couple steps. Obviously, just like with anything else, if you do it a couple of times, it's going to make it easier for you. Now, so I've bore sighted, and hey, everybody, we're going to put out a video just walking through these steps. So we'll show you what that actually looks like. And so stay tuned to the channel. Keep checking in. We'll show you guys both of these methods here. We'll make a video for everybody. But after I've done that, now it's time to maybe take our test shot.